Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the weekly Wow. That's WOW weekly. Wow. Words of wisdom on the power of writing notes today. I cannot wait to get to our guest today, but I'm going to make you wait till you hear his story. You are going to literally want to watch this over and over again, but I've got to read a couple of testimonials from Notevember, and they keep coming in and I'm just amazed by it. And yet I'm not amazed by it. I know the power of a power note. So Sharon Hires said, hey, I didn't post this because I didn't want to sound like bragging. Doesn't that sound like a member of the generosity generation? But I wanted to let you know that Notevember is working. I would love it even if it was not working. The card to my top referral source arrived and she texted me thanking me for the card. She added that she just referred me for a listing and that they would also need help to buy in North Carolina. Just got the signed listing agreement today. Plus, I get to refer the agent in North Carolina for a purchase around the same amount, which is about $500,000. That's $1 million in business, almost $1 million in business. Not bad for Notevember and one card. Thank you. That's Sharon Hires who wrote that. And I've got another one. I mean, I literally have a stack that I could read to you about what the impact of these notes has been. So this one's a little bit longer, so hang with me. And Dave, hang with me here. All right. So dear Refer Code team, Michael, Sherry, etc. Thank you. Thank you for all your time, energy, and commitment and all the soul you invested in RMS 2020. You delivered. That was our online summit we did a couple of weeks ago. I have 15 pages of notes that I will be gleefully going through over the next week as I schedule implementation, follow up on all that I learned for my business planning. So much content, so much inspiration. I look forward to implementing, and I wish I had it all implemented now. It's a challenge to find the words to sincerely thank you for the impact the GenGen has had on me in the last 15 years. I've increased my knowledge with your books and trainings, and with the trainings from others in the generosity generation. I've met inspiring agents from all over. That's you, GenGen, and have learned from many interactions with them. I've graded my database, had a housewarming party, reset my schedule to be more realistic and allow for grace. Shout out to Neil Smith there. Learned to set up my week and each day for success. I started a new Facebook group focused on accountability and encouragement. And I look forward to starting another Facebook group that will focus on generosity in my local community. I've given more generously. I've shared what I've learned with other real estate agents and professionals. I've gained more confidence. I've gained clarity, and I've gained inspiration. This month, I will finally start making regular calls to my database and regularly writing note cards because of Notevember. You are truly a light. I was out there at sea, drifting, looking for my way, and I'm so glad that I found it. Thank you also for the TV. She won a TV during our RMS 2020 event. That was a surprise, and the timing couldn't be better. I haven't really watched TV in the past 20 years, but 2 days after the TV was delivered, I was introduced to a show called The Crown by my sister-in-law. I'm hooked. If you don't hear from me in the next few weeks, I'm binge watching The Crown. Thanks for the TV and the fun and the levity and all you do. God bless you for all. God bless you all for sharing yourselves and being so open, accessible, and genuinely caring. With appreciation, Nancy Lamascus. So I'm telling you, Notevember works, and she probably felt great writing that note, but there's nobody in this room that feels better than I do right now. I mean, and the thing is you're like, well, maybe he hears that all the time, or maybe it's like, no, we don't. And here's the thing, who cares? Like, if you have a compliment to give it. If you have praise to give it. If you've got a note to write it. The only bad note is the one that's unwritten and unsent. So make sure you do it. And there is nobody who has led the charge more in the last 7, 8, 9 years than our guest that we have here today. Dave Debruyn is a licensed real estate agent out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, a top producer. He started real estate in 1984. He was actually voted Realtor Associate of the Year. He's also served as the local board president. He is a GRI and a CRS. Dave is also very involved locally and civically. He loves to read and do all water sports, and is married to Jackie and has 3 girls, 7 grandkids, and 2 great grandkids. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest today on the Weekly Wow. And this is our reminder to you. You're going to want to start a watch party. Go down below, hit share. It says, how do you want to share? Start your watch party. Start it on your personal profile. Start it in your group. Start it on your page. Start a watch party somewhere, because you are going to want to share this. This is for everybody, not just realtors. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Debruyn, welcome to the Weekly Wow. Welcome, brother. Appreciate you. All right, you're on mute. There you go.
Thank you, Michael. Good to see you.
You too. How you been?
I've been wonderful, even
Good.
with this year. Yeah.
How about the first edition copy of 7L over your left shoulder right there?
You like that? It's
I do like that.
Autographed by a friend of mine. Yeah.
Is it? That's old school, right? That's one of the first 10,000 right there.
Yeah.
That's the black cover with the silver 7L.
Gotta love it. Yeah.
How far we've come, brother. How far we've come.
Boy, that's true. But you keep coming up with new ideas, and we keep implementing them.
Listen, it's so funny. It's inspired by love, generosity, and appreciation. It's amazing. Early on, I thought we would be so limited by strategies that fit in those categories, because they haven't been taught. And
Right.
What is amazing is that not only that, the cool thing about GenGen is now it's a collective, it's a collaborative, co-creation of great ideas and these things that work, but they're based on the right intentions. They're based on love, generosity, and appreciation. And so I can't take all the credit for that, but I can take credit for bringing the like-minded people together. And that may be the best thing I've ever done in my life. So,
That's right.
You've been a member of the Generosity Generation for a long time, almost from the beginning.
Mhm.
When did you start writing notes? When did you start writing the handwritten notes?
Well, the good story about this is that every Thanksgiving, I would send out Thanksgiving cards to my clientele. And it was a way of getting the message out in my card, and that they know I'm still in the business, and just saying Happy Thanksgiving. And then you came up with Notevember, 9 years ago, and it was amazing to me because it opened the door for me to give thanks with a handwritten note, and it was like I couldn't believe the first year on how effective that was. So eliminated the Thanksgiving cards and went to personal notes saying thank you. It's a great time to say that, but then adding a personal note, and then the PSs, which are the cream of the crop on the notes.
Yeah, I love that. So what was the result that first year? So how many did you write, and what kind of response did you get?
Well, we had the format to go that was on the Notevember site. There's a few of the veterans out there that are asking Sherry, we're not getting a way to record, and
That's
it
right.
is with your with the website. And I see there's a lot of response on that. I had 600 letters on the first year, and I received 20 referrals from those cards that year.
So 600, you wrote 600 notes during November or during the year?
No, during November.
In just 1 month. So everybody
Yep.
here is like, 30 notes in 30 days, and some are struggling, and some are like, oh man, I've got 5 done or whatever. And Dave Debruyn did 600
Right.
in November of 2011, actually.
Mhm.
In 2011, he did 600 handwritten notes and received 20 referrals. How many? I mean, that's 20 a day, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
did you write 20 a day, or did
I
you? Yeah.
I'm always on track for November. So the notes start getting written in advance of November. And you know that because I send you a note saying I'm ready to rock.
That's right.
So the program goes because you add new things with your every daily videos, and it gives me new incentives. Like today's, where you send a note to the daughter or son of the person that you work with to tell the son or daughter that you appreciate the hard work your mom or dad do. I love that. That's going to be tomorrow's mission, because I'm on the last 18 days of November now, which will be my database people that used to get Thanksgiving cards. The first 17 days were all programmed for the 20 treasures, which we might go into next, and then the police responders. And with all that's going on with COVID, we've just been giving thank notes to everybody that needs a good warm card to say hi.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And I have to tell you, today's is one of my favorites. Writing to the son or daughter of a coworker and just telling, I mean, because they don't know and they have no it's like two different worlds. There's the work world that mom or dad goes to, and then there's the home world. And there's nothing like edifying their mom or dad. And you never know the relationship between the kid and the parent, and that may actually change the entire perspective of their mom and dad in the eyes of the child. Is that you just never know. So I love that one, and I've always enjoyed that. Another one you can do is write to the spouse. Write to the spouse of a coworker, and two of my favorites right there. So what is the 20 treasures? You mentioned that, and I know we didn't rehearse that, but I'm genuinely curious.
Well, the 20 treasures is really the setup of 7L. It's the ambassadors and the referral people that we meet once a month and deal with. Out of those special people, they get the first notes of November. They get a send out, and it's a special note saying, I really appreciate what you did this year. And there's a lot going to happen in 2021. So looking forward to our December and January meeting. And those they stay on track. So you're ready with your ambassadors and your treasure 20 to do business out of the gate in January. And it works like clockwork.
So is that so you do a PS on your notes, right? And by the way, if you have questions for Dave, please put them in the Facebook Live here in the Generosity Generation. If you're watching a watch party somewhere and you're maybe interested in joining GenGen, join GenGen.com. We'll get you there. That's join GenGen.com. And it's one of those where put your questions in there for Dave. I'll ask the questions, and Sherry will help me line those questions up, make sure we get your question answered. And you guys have to be genuinely curious about this. And one of the most common questions I get is what do you write for the PS? So what do you write for the PS? And then I've got a follow-up question to that.
Sure. Well, PSs are always is the tag to be able to make sure they can contact you. And you got to give them some reason to say, well, really reached out to say hi, but really I want you to call me because I have an update for you for what's happening in 2021. And everybody's curious about real estate, and they want to know now what the shutdowns might do with it going into that. And we give them updates, but it gives them a reason to give you a call. And that's the power of the PS.
Yeah.
You want them to call you to ask the question.
Yeah. Is your follow-up on that with your treasure 20? And maybe I'm assuming I know the answer, and I don't want to assume anything, but the treasure 20 calls you or texts you. Is your call to action for that call a one-on-one? Is that what you're going for, is to schedule that one-on-one?
It's always set for a one-on-one.
Okay. So right out of 7L, right? Yeah. So you're keeping the momentum and you're moving up the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So handwritten note leads to a call, leads to a one-on-one, right? Or the handwritten note leads to a call or text message, which leads to an event, which could lead to a one-on-one. So love that. And the thing that I really want to note here that Dave does really well is, please notice that he's not going for the one-on-one in the PS. Like, that's too big of a leap. It's too, if you want somebody to do something, if you want to sell an idea, if you want to sell, a one-on-one, especially in the current environment, you almost have to sell it. You almost have, so the time to ask, it's like when you're, you really wanted to do something when you were a little kid, right? The best thing you can do is ask in front of a friend, hey dad, can we go down and play in the creek, and normally you get a no, but well, it's the same thing when it comes to asking somebody for a one-on-one is ask them over the phone instead of asking them in a PS or in a written way. If you emailed and say, hey, let's get together for a one-on-one, they're likely to not respond or tell you no. But when you're on the phone and say, man, you know what? I've got some awesome things to talk to you about and maybe some people to connect you to. Let's do a one-on-one. They're like, okay. And then you just schedule it from there and make it happen. So, a big part of the 7L is understanding that using the different levels helps you get your way. It helps you get more of what you want. And the more you get what you want, the better, honestly, the happier you are and the better your business is. So I love that you don't go for the giant leap of a one-on-one in the PS. You just want them to text you, or you just want them to call you. And then from there, your next step. And that's another big part of this is people need to know their next step. So we got some questions coming in. It looks like Sherry is beating down my door to the studio here. So,
Well, Sherry's doing that. The other thing that's really been important this last year and this year is the young professionals. And the young professionals don't have databases like the veterans do. And they always just want to text out of their phone and send it. And I convinced 2 of the people that are in my office to do handwritten notes this year and literally help them make sure that they were doing it and send them. And they couldn't believe the response they got from their handwritten note. And it's so far out of the character of the millennials, but they do appreciate that. And we got to convince the people, just send those notes out because they're so powerful when the people receive it on the other end.
And here's the thing, Dave, like from me and you, people almost like a handwritten note. They're like, well, yeah, that's kind of consistent. Like I see, it's not a huge a wow or surprise, right? Though there is still the wow or still the surprise to it. But when a millennial writes a handwritten note instead of text you, that's like a drop the mic, and I have to give a shout out to Lauren Lundy, who was one of our 4 seniors that we profiled in our dedicated show to the high school seniors back in May. And Lauren Lundy has written me 3 handwritten notes over the summer. And then she's checked into K-State, Kansas State in Manhattan. And she's written me 2 notes since she has been there, thanking me for she interviewed me for a leadership series. And so she was also one of the winners of our $500 spin it any way you want it. And it was just like this is a lost art. And a millennial, you can instantly differentiate yourself by writing handwritten notes. And you're seeing it with your 2 young professionals who are writing the notes. Kudos for you. Obviously have influence, right? Because they did what you asked them to do.
Yep.
So, all right, we got a couple questions. All right. Heron, one of my favorites. Heron Kreitner is an Atlanta agent, and he is saying sent as a card, and you sent me a card. I don't know what this says, Sherry. You're gonna have to help me here. So, all right. So just tell me what.
Here's a question from Sharon Hire.
Okay, we got Sharon Hire. Sharon, did you see the open? I read your PM in the opening. So Sharon, what is your PS? Oh, do you always use the same PS, Dave? Do you always use the same PS or you change it up?
No, I change it up depending on where we're at. I mean, obviously, PSs to the military this year were my heart. PS was to them saying, I think of you. There were Marines, obviously, thinking of you every day, your hard work and all this, and always here for you if you're going to be stationed down here in Grand Rapids. And I got a referral from the Marine Reserve Division on somebody that's moving here. So, just because you reached out, you got to thank them because, see, the whole key with your GenGen is that we're not looking for it. We're sending it out because we appreciate them. The rewards come if you don't take it. You're not looking for my rewards first. We're looking for their gratitude that they receive something, and
100%.
it'll come back to you full.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of those where that's what I love about this is, you know what? It's great if we never got business from it.
Right.
But you know, all these things, right? The friendly phone call, the events, the one-on-ones, the networking, the connecting, the handwritten notes, you know, they all feel good to do regardless. And if it didn't get business, it's okay. But here's the thing. It gets us more business than we're ever ready for. You know, it just literally opens the floodgates coming back to us. So I love that. And I love the fact that you wrote a handwritten note, not even expecting anything in return. I mean, you wrote it to a military personnel person, you know, it's like, I'm just writing this because I really appreciate what they're doing. And you got a referral out of it.
I did. Yep.
That's awesome. So why do you keep doing it? You know, what's your best success story?
The best success story, whether there's a couple, but I sent a note to a friend of mine that I knew that his wife wasn't doing well, but I didn't know that she had passed. So I sent a thank you to him saying that, you know, we've had a good friendship for years, and I just wanted to send a thank you and telling you that I'm praying and hoping your wife is okay. Well, I found out by his call that she had passed. And he said, you know, your card came the day that we really needed to have just a special message at home. And now that they're regrouping because of that, they're relocating. And so the family of the girls and him are all listing their houses. And if you know, the chances of me getting that could have been there, but certainly the card helped at the time it came in.
Yeah, that's the thing that is like, we sometimes assume we're going to get certain business and then we don't. And then it's a burn, right? It really hurts. And the thing is that if you write the handwritten notes, if you do the events, if you make the calls, you do the one-on-ones, if somebody actually does use somebody else, does it hurt? Yeah. But it hurts a lot less because you're kind of like, all right, I did everything possible. So it's on them, not me. Right. I did everything I could. I delivered as much value, and you know what? They just didn't appreciate me, and that's okay. Good riddance. You know, it's better for them to move out of my community, and I'll go build a relationship with somebody more appreciative, you know? So, but here's the thing. You don't want that to happen because you weren't there, you know, because you didn't write the note, or you didn't make the call, or you didn't have the event, or you didn't have them in your Facebook group. So I love that. And you said you had a couple of stories. There was another one too, right? There's
well, I had another one. You were alluding to it, but I was going to list her house, and she ended up with, her mother passed, and she ended up with another friend that said that she should really go with this other agent. And I said, fine, you know, and she did. And she was not happy. Nothing went right. She ended up selling because the market's hot in Michigan, but she ended up selling, but she not happy at all with the performance. But because I stayed in touch with her and I gave her encouragement and sent her in November saying, I'm thinking of you and I'm glad the move to the new place is really going to set you off for the good way. I got 2 referrals on the same street that they're going to move. And so it ended up with two listings instead of 1. So
that's awesome. And all because you were like, okay, you know, if that's, you know, I'm going to make this decision easy for you. You know, you go with the other agent and I'll bless you and help you, or, you know, whatever. And then it ended up boomeranging back, coming back. That's happened in my career a few times as well. And it's amazing how it works. You know, it's amazing how when you don't get upset and you save the relationship versus worrying about the sale, that when you save the relationship, you actually do end up with a sale. I've had a scenario where I had a client who ended up relisting with somebody else, but they actually referred me, maybe out of guilt, I don't know, but they referred me, and it ended up a $500,000, actually $499 sell, and they ended up buying at $750, you know, which was a lot more than what I would have gotten if I just listed their house. So it's amazing how it works when you're doing good things. And, so, what do you love the most about Notevember?
Well, November became very special now because it just was Thanksgiving time. But now I can't wait to sit down and get the 30 notes set up to go out the next day. Matter of fact, I just bought another roll of stamps, and the fact is that we're getting, especially now, this next 18 days, and if everybody that's watching, we're getting locked down again in a little bit of Michigan. They're shutting down restaurants and all this again for 3 weeks, hopefully only that.
Yeah.
But this is the time to send them out and ask if I can help them with something. So, if you want a meal delivered, or you need your lawn raked, or you need something done because you're not in a position to do it and you're depressed, we're trying to put some smiles on your faces and tell them that we're here to help you. And so I'm getting very excited about this last part of the month, because there's a lot of people that are going to go to the mailbox and see something from me that hopefully will make a smile on their face.
You bring up such a great point, Dave, is that, a lot of states are going back on lockdown, and, a friendly phone call is a great idea. But for some, picking up that dang phone, it weighs 10,000 pounds for them, which, Josh Frazee hopefully conquered that for a lot of people during the Daily Dose and during the Smart Restart and during the Referral Mastery Summit. But there are some stragglers, and there's also some new people, the generosity generation, that, maybe picking up the phone is too assertive. It's too much right now. Well, writing a handwritten note is extremely passive. And and I have to tell you, I wrote a note yesterday. The first time I wrote it, I messed it up. So guess what I did? I ripped it up, I threw it away, and I started a new note, and I wrote the second note better. Well, that's hard to do on a phone call, but you can do it. You can really think about your words, and you can really put it in the right, language, and then send it off. And during the lockdown, what are they getting? Like in the mail, they're getting bills, they're getting, ads maybe, and they're going to get your handwritten note. So this is really, really powerful way to differentiate yourself in the lockdown world.
I'll add one more to that, is that you make a phone call, everybody goes through that routine, and then when you hang it up, it's done.
Yeah.
You send this note this month to those people, it isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay on their desk. It's going to stay in the refrigerator. It's going to stay with them because it meant something special. And it's a lot better than a phone call.
Let me ask you this. And so you wrote 600 the first year. Do you know how many you may have written the next year?
The following year?
Yeah.
I went to I went up another 30 for November. I went to 630 on the second year.
Okay. And then, so now let's go 9 years. How many handwritten notes do you think you've written? Like, how many have you written this year?
I am currently at 492, and I'm on track for 37 notes a day for the remaining. That puts me to 1,000.
To 1,000 notes for the month.
Right.
Yeah. So how many do you, first of all, that's just flipping unbelievable. I mean, some people haven't written 1,000 notes in their lifetime, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And, so how many, so let's take a quick guesstimate here, is through the 9 years of Notevember, how many notes have you written?
Oh my goodness. We've been at 600. So we're 50. Oh, that's a good question.
That's 5,400 if it was just 600.
We're going to push, we're going to push, we're going to 7,000.
Yeah. Yeah. 6,000 to 7,000 notes over the last, 9 years. I mean, that's a wow, right? This is the weekly wow. I think that qualifies as a wow. That's a big deal. So,
but for all the GenGens, all they really need to understand is they need to do 30. It's not about my numbers. It's about getting that handwritten note in the mail.
Yeah.
Because you're going to touch somebody's heart, and it's going to be rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to be honest. Here's something really interesting, is that I'm already looking forward to Notevember next year.
Mhm.
Like, so Notevember this year, good, got it. Finally went online with it, finally took
Yep.
control over it. Right. And Sherry deserves a lot of credit. She set up the whole Thinkific course. Well, this was like first draft of what we're doing with the Notevember course, with
Mhm.
Thinkific. We have like 20 things that we're going to install for now. I'm already excited about Notevember 2021,
There you go.
so very cool. And so I think, any words of wisdom for those that, maybe haven't written a single note in Notevember and they really need some inspiration or motivation to write that first note. What would you share with them?
Well, again, the website that Sherry and you set up, if they click on that daily and listen to the video, you give them a great idea, like the sibling thing today. They need to just do that. It takes only a minute to log in and get inspired by what your marching order would be for that day.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if you're not going out in anything, you got plenty of time to sit at your desk and work on it. But the thing is, the messages are there from you to get inspired on just sitting down and writing a note to that particular suggestion for the day. It doesn't take much to get down and just draft the note, and in the blue writing up on the right, it all has a message, it all has a meaning, and you need to follow instructions
Yeah.
because it's an impact. And so it isn't that difficult for anybody listening to be able to build their relationships up by using November as their catalyst. You can spend $1,500 for a third party to send out cards. I'll tell you, it won't make what this does if you do it on your own.
Here's the thing, you're robbing yourself of this great feeling. That's the thing, right? Yeah, you can hire anybody to do anything, right? But
Mhm.
why would you rob yourself of this great feeling that is sending this note? It just feels great to write this note and deliver something positive, some praise, a compliment, some appreciation. And they're just like this. And I truly believe that it will make your life better to write these notes. It will
Mhm.
make your life better, even if you never get a referral. And I truly believe that when you send this energy out into the world, that it comes roaring back. It comes right back to you. It may not be direct. It might be it might be a personal trainer who comes into your life who starts training you.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes what you don't need, sometimes what you need is not necessarily a referral. Sometimes what you need is something else.
Right.
And it is amazing how writing these notes a lot of times will attract the right thing to you at the right time. And I don't know how it works or why it works, but I do know that it does work, and I'm not going to mess with it. I don't know how electricity works, right? But
Right.
I do like that when I flip a switch, it goes on, the light goes on. It's the same way. I know that if I flip the switch by writing the note, that good things are going to happen. It's going to light
Right.
up somebody else's world, and it's going to light up my world. So
And
I
a
love
lot
that.
of responses. There's people out there getting ready. I mean, I see more excitement 2 or 3 days before we launched November that people are looking for it. And
Yeah.
and so I think you created a monster for me. So
Well, I don't think anybody has taken it quite to heart and quite to the extent you have. And I love you for it, because you know me, right? If you're going to do it, do it. Do it in a big way. Master it. If you're
yeah.
going to do it, master it. And you have definitely mastered note writing and November for sure. I have to give a quick shout out to Heron Kreitner. Heron did write me a handwritten note. He did put a PS. I did not respond to it, only because it's such a hard PS to respond to. Coming from Kansas City, he said, PS, what's your favorite barbecue in Kansas City? And I am going to reserve the right to maybe answer that privately, Heron, because if I gave you an answer, there would be like Kansas City fighting words, right? It's like, I like Jack Stack. I like Q39. I like barbecue, period. So Heron, there's your answer. And there's my response. So So Heron, speaking of segue, Heron wrote, by the way, if you're still comment, we can see those. Heron said that his mom passed a few years ago, and we went through her things. We found a note that I had written her. She kept that note. And
Wow.
how awesome is that? And Tom Carver, welcome. And Nina, welcome to the show. And we're here weekly while with Dave Debruyn from Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're actually in the process of wrapping up this show. And, Dave, I just have to say kudos to you. You have literally been a leader. And sometimes people are like vocal leaders. Hey, guys, write the notes. Hey, but you have led by example in the biggest way during Notevember for 9 straight years. And I just want to say thank you so much for doing that. And, being who you are.
Well, it just followed the path. And I thank you for even coming up with the idea, because I jumped right on it because it made perfect sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, I want you to know that 7 years ago, my son was behind on Notevember, and he literally caught up in 1 day. He wrote his notes in 1 day. And you can do that too. You can go to notevember.com and you can join our 30-day challenge right now and log in your notes in the test area. Did you write your note or not? And you can catch up today. So you can do this. And
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, for $27, what you're getting for that is through the roof. I guarantee next year it will be far more than that. I'm just warning you right now, save your bucks, because we're going to charge more. So, why? Because Melissa Kadermas out of Wisconsin says, hello, I need to buy more note cards. I have plenty of time to write notes. She's in Orlando right now. So very good. So that is one of the things that you do have to catch up on sometimes is buying the notes. And, thank God for services like Etsy and Amazon and everything else. We don't have to go out to get them. Liz Freeman, who, by the way, has been posting her note every day in the generosity generation. And here's the thing, let me read that. Liz Freeman says, thank you so much for Notevember, has meant a lot to me. And thank you, Liz. Here's the thing. Couple things. Nobody knows, very few people know Liz Freeman in our group, right? And here's the thing, but because Liz posts her note every day, what do we think of Liz Freeman? Dave, what do you think of Liz Freeman? And by the way, she even uses, colored envelopes. Yeah. And she's taken it, right? I plus the 7 steps to a power note with the colored envelopes and use a yellow Post-it for your PS occasionally just to mix it up. And it's very noticeable. So, you don't know Liz Freeman. What do you think of Liz Freeman because she posts her note every day? What do you think about her?
Oh, I like her posts every day because she's right there with a picture, and you think she's a superstar in her field, way ahead of the game.
Yeah, I mean it's like you respect her, you like her, you trust her in some way because consistency leads to trust. And we don't know her from out, but here's what happens: we get a referral for an area outside of town, like Grand Rapids, Michigan, right? And then somebody says, you should talk to Dave Debruyn. Well, everybody's like, well, yeah, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, he's famous. I know him. And that same thing with Liz Freeman. There's going to be a referral in her area. And people are like, oh, you might want to talk to Liz Freeman. We're going to go, oh, yeah, she's the note writing gal. It's like, yeah, it's like, and she is triggered in our head a brand of being an implementer, of being appreciative, and being a great person. And guess what? Those are the people we refer. So anyway, that's Nikki Brandt. Welcome to the show.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's wrap this up, right? We're right at time. What should we do differently? I like I said, I know we didn't rehearse this, but what should we do differently for Notevember next year from the ReferCo standpoint? What could we do better? What could we do differently? what's a favorite from the past that maybe we didn't do that we should bring back, right?
Oh, well, we covered all the holidays, and now we're getting into consoling those that are in trouble for COVID. That hopefully won't be the case next year.
That's right.
But maybe special events that we can tag into and promote, and then send out notes that way. I think it's endless if we keep brainstorming new ideas for the next week.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Mhm.
We should do a holiday party,
Mhm.
right? A GenGen holiday party. And if you can't think of somebody to write, you write a note to invite them to the holiday party as your guest.
Yeah.
Right. And we figure
Right.
that's a great idea, Sherry. We need to implement that. Notice that I said, Sherry, that's a great idea. We need to implement that. She will
Yeah.
remind me of that later. And we
Without
will figure that out. Another thing that we're looking to add is maybe a little more robust note tracker, right? One of the favorites of the past was having a note tracking mechanism where you could write who you sent it to, when you sent, the date you sent it, and then what you put at the PS, and then you could measure the response rate of a certain PS. We did not have the software or the programming to do that for this year. The bottom line is, just write the notes. That's what we really went for this year, is let's just inspire people to write their notes.
Yeah, I agree. And we had that competition in the first couple of years where we were tracking dailies and who won that day and who was ahead for the month. And it was an internal competition, but it kept you motivated to do it because I wanted to win.
Yeah, because we're competitive by nature, right? Oh, trust me, we're gonna have a contest, and I think it's one of those where even at that, we do a December 1st or a December 2nd holiday party, which we thought about doing anyway. And then at that, we announce our top 3, and we, on the note tracker, we shut it down like on the 25th of November, right? So nobody knows. You just got to write and keep writing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, 1,000 would probably win it most years, Dave. I'm just saying that, but I can tell you right now, like, there is somebody in GenGen. I know GenGen. There's somebody in GenGen that now has your picture like on the wall with 1,000 next to it. And it's like, I'm writing 1,001, so
I can probably give you the name of about 3 of those people that have been in competition of the past.
Oh, I know. I remember the Sue, was it
Sue?
Vinsel?
Yeah.
Right. Sue was a prolific writer, and she could churn out, like, one day she did like 65 in one day.
Yeah, she was really competitive. She was.
Yeah. That's good.
That's good stuff. A tracker would be great for next year.
Yeah. So we've got all kinds of ideas, and I can't wait for it. So, Dave, I just want to say, thank you so much for being our guest on the Weekly Wow today. And this has been one of my favorite shows, just because it just shows what's possible. And I really feel that's what we need to do with our events and our summits and our classes is it's not always about writing 1,000. Sometimes it's about writing the first.
That's
but if we can show what's possible, then it makes people think bigger. And you have definitely made people think bigger about Notevember. You've made me think bigger about Notevember, and just really, really appreciate you and appreciate everything you've done.
Well, you've been a good friend, and I'm so glad we met all the way back when. But in watching you and Max and your heart attack and all the stuff that's gone on in your life,
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so good stuff. I appreciate everybody. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Weekly Wow. You can join Notevember at Notevember.com. We tried to make it as easy as possible for you. Notevember.com. Check it out. You can still sign up. It's $27. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. It's 30 videos, and it's 30 sheets of memory jogger and hopefully motivation. And you can sign up at Notevember.com. The other thing too is over the next couple of weeks, you're going to get a lot of emails from us. I just want everybody to know we have a Black Friday special that is going to blow your mind. Essentially, it's like, what is the one thing everybody is missing from their business plan for 2021? We are going to incorporate that into our Black Friday special. So that is coming. I just want to warn you right now. And you're like, okay, why do you send so many emails? Well, we don't all year, right? Throughout the year, we send you one a week or so. And during Black Friday, we do send like 9 in 3 days. Why? Here's why. People buy after the first one. They buy after the third one. They buy after the 7th. And some people like have to get the 9th one before they invest. And I'm telling you, I want you to do this Black Friday special. I want you to do it. It's very inexpensive, but it's very, very powerful. And I hope you take us up on the offer. So anyway, bottom line is just know, I'm warning you right now, there's going to be more emails than normal over the next couple of weeks. And, hopefully you don't think we're marketing too hard for you, but we also find out that there's some people that just have to hear it 5 times before they take action. So I love you guys. I appreciate all of you. Dave, thank you again for being our special guest on the Weekly Wow.
Thanks for the invite and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And Weekly Wow, GenGen, thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We will see you next time on the Weekly Wow. Love you, everybody.